everybody, it's Maria from cardbomb.blogspot.com, and I'm here today to share with you the Glossy Paper Soot Technique. It's a really cool technique that can help you get an image that looks like an old photograph, and that's my goal today. I've used the car stamp from the set Guy Greetings, and I've already done the first step of the process, which is to clear emboss it onto glossy paper. Has to be glossy paper, this isn't going to work. My one tip when you're stamping the Versamark ink onto the glossy paper is to make sure that you press down firmly, but be careful not to push to the side and slide your image around. Otherwise, you're kind of gonna get a mucky image. It's not going to be crisp and clean like you want. Because my goal today is to make this look like an old weathered photograph, I want to make sure that after I've completed this technique, I don't have a lot of white coming through from the background of my image. And so I'm going to try and resolve that a little bit ahead of time by adding some color to the image. So this is Daffodil Delight, and I just want to get a little bit of extra color on the piece. It doesn't have to be perfect. Weathered photographs rarely are. And I hope you don't mind me spinning this. It's just the most efficient way for me to be able to do this. That's enough. And the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use this set, Timeless Textures, and I'm going to use this stamp right here to add a little bit of extra texture and color to the edges of this piece. So you can see a little bit better now that there's some color on here. There's the image. Now I don't want to stamp this full strength. I do want to stamp it with the more textured edge facing in. It already looks pretty cool. Oops, sorry, I bumped my camera. Apologies. Now I'm going to turn this stamp around that I'm using, and I'm going to use this straighter edge, and I'm just going to add in a grounding line for the car. Just try and make it look like it's driving on something there. Okay. The next step in this process is that I'm going to do a little bit of safety, damage control, if you will, because this can be a dangerous technique to do. It really should come with a little bit of a hazard warning, because you're playing with fire, which is really pretty fun, but can be a little bit dangerous. So the next thing to do is light a candle, because now you're going to get as close to burning your paper without burning it as possible. I've found, I'm going to sit down, and I'm sorry you're not going to be able to see this very well, but I've found that using a taper candle versus using something like a votive candle works a little bit better for me. And let me just, it's already working, so let me just show you. You see, I'm trying to not burn. I've tried using a votive candle, and it works well, except for that when I'm trying to be precise about where I'm placing the soot, I end up having a hard time because I bump the metal edges of the votive into the paper, which just wipes the soot right off, which is counterproductive, and it makes weird, ugly marks in the paper. The other thing that you have to be careful of is not burning your image. We all know how embossing powder works, and it melts with heat, right? So if you get too close to your image, or you hold the flame on it for too long, you melt your embossing powder. And I can absolutely show you a couple of images that I've gone wrong doing that. I think today we're looking good. Maybe I shouldn't burn myself. I just dripped candle wax right as soon as I said we were looking good, I got candle wax onto my paper, but that's okay. I'm going to blow the candle out. Now, you might notice that I have a pretty large border around the edge of this, and that's for a couple of reasons. I didn't like this paper on fire. I almost did right there. But you want to have a little bit of extra room just in case you catch your paper on fire, because believe me, it happens. And if you want this on a card and you don't want a burnt edge, you want to have the extra room to play with that you can cut off and still be happy with how much of an image piece you have. The other thing is that the more that you touch this, the more, see this dark spot? You just wipe it right off. So you, I might want a little more soot on here. You know, the more that you can't touch it, basically. You can't touch it or the soot's coming off on your hands. So you obviously have to hold it in order to do this technique. So you need to leave a little bit of wiggle room with being able to hold it. I just want to get this a little bit darker in a couple places. There we go. All right, that got darker. I wanted to be really careful not to burn, not to melt my image, because I've done that already today and I wasn't very happy with myself for it. So all right, I'm going to put away my safety gear here, and just so you know, I did have a bottle of water, or a bowl of water off to the side here, just in case I caught my paper on fire. All right, so that looks pretty cool. One of the things that I do want, I could leave it like this. This one came out in such a way that I actually really can see the car, and it does come through, and it does kind of look like an old smoky photo. But I have found on other image pieces that it will be really dark. Let me see if I can, no, I can't find one. And you might want to clean it up a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to use a Q-tip and wipe away some of the soot to reveal the image a little bit more. Just give it some little highlights, wiping out the details here. You can see that the embossed image actually turned dark, so it's like it holds the soot. Wiped it away a little bit there, but I think that looks pretty good. I'm just going to leave it like that. Sometimes I'll highlight around it and under the bottom of it. In the card that I originally made with this image, I did wipe away more around the image because the image was so dark. I had to do it in order for you to be able to see the image. The next thing that you'll have to do is use a sealant. If you touch this right now, the soot's just going to wipe right off. So I don't even know what brand this is, but this is just a clear sealer or finish. I'm using a high gloss, and it's just from my local craft store. This one works on paper, wood, stone, metal, most fabrics and plastics, just super cheap generic sealer. And so we're going to have to spray it down in order to be able to use it on a card, and I recommend doing that before you do anything else. Don't try to trim the edges. Don't try to do anything to this until you have sealed it. I'm going to go seal this now, and thanks for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed this technique. Please let me know if you have any questions. Again, this is Maria from cardbomb.blogspot.com, and there will be plenty of details and photographs on my blog. Thank you for stopping by. See you soon. Bye.